We can say our guest today is Jason Loomins from Marine Park Technical College in Fond du Lac. Jason, can you tell us a little bit about what you do so I don't screw it up and um, about your current situation and your role and what's going on with Marine Park or technical colleges in Wisconsin in general?
Sure. Well, like you said, I'm Jason Loomins. I'm manager of network engineering at Marine Park Technical College. What I do is probably a lot of some things and a little bit of everything. My area is, it's myself, and then I have 5 technicians. I'm responsible for the college's network infrastructure and classroom technology. So that includes all the, internet to Ethernet jack and all the technology that directly impacts the student learning experience. So that's video conferencing, projection. Nursing simulation, CNC stuff, whatever our students are using in the classrooms. We have a hand in it. The only thing I don't do is we don't do a whole lot of computer work, desktop work. That's another group, but that's a kind of an array of what we do. Also involved in security and of both physical and of the digital type. So,
can you give us a sense of the size of Marine Park Technical College, the campus, however it is that you define the campus, that kind of stuff?
Well, we have 3 campuses. Primary site is in Fond du Lac, secondary sites West Bend and Beaver Dam. I shouldn't call them secondary sites, but additional campuses because they're all fantastic. Regional centers at Ripon High School and Jackson, Wisconsin, and then we have a presence at Fox Lake Correctional. We're about I'd say I don't want to quote the head count because I'll get it wrong, but we're full of students both online and in person. So.
On that note, as we bring it into kind of these days right here, have you guys had a sense of enrollment increase, decrease, kind of the same? Too early to tell with what's been going on in the last 6 months?
We get a report on our enrollment usually about once a month. We've been watching it very closely. Last report I heard is that our enrollment has held about steady, which we're actually thankful for. I think a lot of current events have kept students from making decisions too quickly, and so we saw kind of a rush of enrollments late into August in the few weeks leading up to the beginning of the term.
Yeah, we were talking with Tom Lang over at Chippewa Valley Tech College, and he was saying, early on in the summer, he's like, oh, the enrollment's going to skyrocket. It was kind of like, oh, maybe not. I wouldn't know. It really depends. And it's been kind of, we'll see what happens.
Personally, I've always been hopeful that, we can just keep steady enrollment.
Indeed.
That's a challenge all by itself. So.
Indeed. Well, given that, so we know a little bit of the background there. What are some of the dilemmas you're facing right now when it comes to COVID and trying to be a network manager and all of that other stuff?
Well, kind of dilemmas, I think, first and foremost, I have never seen internet usage at this college like I have seen in the last, especially 3 weeks, where on multiple occasions we're using over 80% of the pipe. And I had never seen us even get close to that. Doing some analysis on what that stuff is, an awful lot of video traffic. Additionally, the drops from Apple and Microsoft and Google of iOS, Android 11, and the latest Windows updates haven't helped anything. But when I began doing the analysis and seeing Zoom, there's some Teams video. We still have some instances of Skype for Business that we're leveraging. Those are that's not insignificant traffic. So I have been keeping a closer eye on it, because if this is a continued trend, there's going to be some circuit upgrades in the future.
Did you see that, or were you able to see any of that back in the spring? And maybe it depends on, I don't know, like if everybody shut down in your area in March or not. Is it same, different? We don't know.
Well, actually, I watched it in the spring as well, and the college actually turned into a service provider, not unlike Amazon or Azure, because we leverage a lot of VDI for our desktop computing, and with all of our staff now working from home, those connections from outside of college ramped up very quickly. We're fortunate in that, basically we just went home one day and the next from the office, and the next day we were just working from home, and there were some pains in the transition, but I wouldn't say that they were catastrophic in nature. I think of all things, it was getting our bearings straight. Video meetings started becoming the norm versus in person. Different, getting curriculum moved from a in-person model to delivering it online in a week and a half. What played a part of it, ramping up our video licensing so that we could entertain, do our classes synchronously, leveraging Zoom or Teams or Skype, whatever tool that was best for the situation.
What is at what capacity are people back on campus right now, students and staff? Estimate?
It's hard to say, because with the social distancing procedures in place, we do have students on site, but they're very transient in nature. When class is over, they pretty much leave. The student life has taken a hit, but there's certain things that we teach that you can't replicate over an online experience. So things like CNC and tool and die, and being at the machines, you can't take that CNC home. So we do that here. Nursing has been challenging in that we don't have all the clinical sites that we're used to. So that's brought more students into the college to leverage simulation as a way to get their clinical hours, because we just can't get as many students out into the local hospitals, and that's the hospitals and clinics and medical facilities control all of that, on who we can bring in, how many, and when. Simulation in nursing has become much more important to us graduating, students in nursing.
Where'd you go, Sarah?
Yeah, I was just going to say, John and I have both, in like 7 lives ago, been CNAs, and I can't imagine trying to do any sort of healthcare without actually being able to put my hands on people.
Well, and CNA still takes place in the classroom, and that when they allowed essential instruction, that was the first thing that came back, is we had to get the medical students in.
Yeah. Well, what about any of the opportunities that you're seeing in this situation? I mean, it's really easy for us to talk about all the things have changed in a negative sense, but is there anything good that's been happening?
We've seen, at least in my area, more adoption of new ways to conduct business, conduct education, than I think I've seen in the last 10. And I think the adaptation to working in a hybrid environment online has done all that. Video, synchronous video instruction over Zoom or Teams wasn't really in play. We were dabbling in how to best offer that mode of instruction prior to the pandemic, and then that hit and said, okay, we're going from pilot to full throttle. Great. That's the best way to lay down technology, is just have at it. So, the opportunities there were, how can we reach to a broader array of students, some that maybe cannot be on campus but still want to take the classes, or, now it's, if I have to stay home or I have to be in quarantine, but I still need to partake because there's some attendance requirements that need to be maintained in order for graduation. I would say the other thing, that opportunity that we have harnessed, is the ability for training and professional development. And I've seen more staff who want to do more things in the classroom and at their desk, and work digitally together more efficient. I've seen more of those get taken on and implemented than I've seen in the future. Just different ways to do things, because we're not where we typically have been. Probably the greatest opportunities, and the other opportunity, which you kind of may not. It depends how you look at it. With our buildings empty for most of the summer and in the spring, we took an approach to, if there was any infrastructure work or back-end work or construction we wanted to do, we had pretty much an open platform. Go do it, and it took away from having to work Sundays and evenings and that stuff, because we had the ability to take down network segments while people were out, which was, I didn't think we'd ever have that, be able to do some of the things that we've done. So
what's surprised you? What's been your major learning discovery, anything like that? None of us expected any of this, but what popped out at you throughout this whole process?
I think the thing that popped out of me during the whole process was the ability to think outside the box. When we came together in March, we had a team that formed, and we were presented with so many different obstacles and stuff, and what I found was the ability for not only our staff and faculty, but our students to overcome and adapt. I was also teaching adjunct at the time, and I had to take a group that was, I was teaching online, but just the dynamics of, teaching that course in the 8 weeks prior to the COVID outbreak to the 8 weeks immediately afterwards were completely different. And I think our students, adapted well to the change and to the change in the learning environment, the change, the way that you had to conduct some parts of your life at the time. everything was adapted. I think I adapted worse to it than most of our, our other people.
What do you get to
what
teach?
I also found was major learning and insight is that just because everybody goes home, there's still an impressive environment to maintain. You just can't, look at your servers and network infrastructure and say, okay, Skippy, we'll see you in 8 weeks. We couldn't. We still have to maintain. There are still requirements to leverage what we have, even though people are not there, and that's through all the remote technologies we were leveraging.
You mentioned earlier that you get to be the security guy as well. Oh, has that changed at all? Given this, is it easier, more difficult?
Well, I make it clear. I work with the security. There's multiple of us, and
Sure.
a colleague who does most of it and leads the strategy. I would say our approaches really haven't changed. We had a comprehensive approach. We've had a comprehensive approach to security for years that we just elect to maintain.
You have any other thoughts, questions, Sarah?
Honestly, I'm kind of wondering, and this is more like a technical college world question, maybe not a Marine Park question, but have you had any contact with your colleagues in the technical college world to discuss what you all are doing?
What's going on?
COVID? Kind of. I mean,
I've had ad hoc conversations. That's been around. I think been around how some things been approached. I know that the WTCS CIO group has been, engaged in doing different things. But I think what I've found is that we're not trying. We try not to reinvent the wheel. So. We're all trying, I think among a lot of colleges, we're trying to do similar things within the parameters that our administrations lay down. So, I know I have reached out on more than one occasion. Okay, what was your approach here? And maybe that's something I can adapt for a application at the college. Some things have, this is there's no cookbook, so let's go figure it out.
My last question, on a personal note, what are you doing different? Take it up. You buy a banjo or anything like that, or how are you getting through things?
I go fishing.
Awesome.
I can social distance on a boat just as well as anybody else. But I have 2 small kids, a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, both girls, and I've learned how to be not only how to instruct on their level and how they're learning today, because I also
teach Sarah.
Yeah. I also have a daughter with who has some intervention services, and so there's some different teaching philosophies there, but also how important it is for the kids to maintain a semblance of reality and life that they can't they still need to socialize and be that way. You can't they got to have all those facets in their daily life, and we've struggled to make sure that they get everything they need.
What kind of structure are your kids in when it comes to school?
They're going to school.
Okay.
They want to be there.
Yeah.
They love it. So I think today was superhero day at school. So they both dressed up in matching Superman costumes.
Love it. We should have that at WiscNet.
I was gonna say next week we got to set up a superhero day at WiscNet, and then we can all look at each other.
I mean, it's already pajama day most of the time.
It's not pretty at all. It's not pretty at all.
So
John bought slippers for the office, so
yeah, I got slippers for the office. You know, I put on a shirt every once in a while. Yeah. Sarah, you got anything else?
not for me.
Not for you? Thank you for your time, Jason. Keep on keeping on. We'll get back together face to face sometime. But we appreciate you.
That.
Yeah.
Growing a little weary of the camera.
Yeah, it's we were like that. We are always like that, but it was just like at some point we just had to go, let's lean into this and get used to it, and hope for a better day later on. But it's good to see people, good to connect with people, and good to do what we can do. So,
all right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, stay in touch, Jason.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Be good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.